Have you ever wondered why you do the things you do? Imagine a little cartoon brain inside your head, zipping around with thought bubbles popping up everywhere. One bubble says, "I really want that cookie right now." Another says, "But what if I wait and get 2 cookies later?" A third bubble shows all your friends wearing the same cool shoes, making you feel like you need them too. It can feel like a big, confusing traffic jam of thoughts and feelings up there. These mental traffic jams happen to everyone. They are a fascinating part of how our amazing brains work. They are not mistakes. They are just shortcuts your brain takes to make decisions faster. These shortcuts are called cognitive biases. That sounds like a big, fancy term, but it's really simple. Think of it like this. Your brain is super busy. It has to keep your heart beating, help you breathe, let you see and hear, and think about your homework all at the same time. To save energy, it creates little rules of thumb to help you decide things quickly. Sometimes, these rules are super helpful, but other times, they can trick you into making choices that aren't the best for you. It's like using a map that has a few wrong turns on it. In this guide, we're going to explore some of these sneaky brain tricks. It's like being a detective, and the mystery we're solving is our own mind. So put on your thinking caps, or maybe your brain detective hats. We're about to go on an adventure inside the human mind. Let's start with a few biases that have to do with things we own or things we're used to. First up is the loss aversion bias. This is your brain's powerful fear of losing things. Imagine your friend offers you a deal. You can trade your favorite, slightly worn-out toy for a brand new, shiny toy that's almost the same. Even if the new toy is technically better, you might feel a strong no way inside. That feeling is loss aversion. Your brain hates the idea of giving something up more than it loves the idea of getting something new. The pain of losing feels twice as strong as the joy of gaining. Closely related to this is the endowment effect. This is when you think something is more valuable just because you own it. Let's say you and your friend both get a free pencil at a school fair. It's just a regular pencil. But if your friend asks to buy your pencil from you, you might suddenly think, this is a really good pencil. I'll sell it for $1. But you probably wouldn't have paid $1 for it yourself. Now, let's talk about the status quo bias. This is your brain's love for keeping things exactly as they are. Think about the lunch table at school. You probably have a favorite spot where you always sit. One day, you arrive and someone is in your seat. Even though all the other seats are just as good, it feels weird and uncomfortable, right? You just want things to go back to normal. That's the status quo bias. It makes us resist change, even if the change could be good for us, because the familiar feels safe and easy. Finally, we have cognitive dissonance. This is the uncomfortable feeling you get when you hold 2 conflicting ideas at once, or when your actions don't match your beliefs. Imagine you believe that being kind to animals is very important. But then, one day, you shoo away a friendly cat because you're in a hurry. Later, you might feel a little squirmy or guilty. That's cognitive dissonance. To make the feeling go away, your brain might try to trick you. You might think, well, that cat probably had somewhere to be. It's just one time. You're trying to make your action, shooing the cat, and your belief, be kind to animals, feel less contradictory. Our brains have a funny way of thinking about time, especially when it comes to waiting for good things. This brings us to the present bias. This is your brain's tendency to want a smaller reward right now, rather than waiting for a bigger reward later. Your parent might say, "You can have 1 scoop of ice cream now," or if you wait until after we finish grocery shopping, you can have 2 scoops. The present bias is the little voice in your head screaming, "1 scoop now! Don't wait!" Even though you know 2 scoops is more, the immediate pleasure is very hard to resist. Next on our list is the scarcity bias. Have you ever seen an ad that says limited edition or only 3 left in stock? That's the scarcity bias in action. Our brains are wired to believe that things that are rare or hard to get are more valuable. If a toy store has a huge bin full of bouncing balls, you might not care much. But if there's only 1 special sparkly bouncing ball left on the shelf, suddenly you want it more than anything. This bias can make us rush into decisions without thinking, just because we're afraid of missing out. Let's also look at the effort justification bias. This is a curious one where we place more value on something if we worked really hard to get it. Imagine you spend a whole weekend building a complicated Lego castle. It might be a little wobbly and a bit lopsided. Your friend who got a perfect pre-built Lego castle for their birthday might not think yours is that great. But to you, it's the most amazing castle in the world. Why? Because you put so much effort into it. Your brain justifies the hard work by increasing the value of the outcome. Then there's ambiguity aversion. Our brains do not like uncertainty. We prefer to know the odds. Imagine 2 jars of jelly beans. In jar A, you know there are exactly 50 red and 50 blue jelly beans. In jar B, you know there are 100 jelly beans, but you have no idea what the mix of colors is. If you win a prize for picking a red jelly bean, most people will choose to pick from jar A. Even though the odds in jar B could be better, it might have 90 red jelly beans. We avoid it because we don't know. We prefer a known risk over an unknown one, which is the essence of ambiguity aversion. Our brains are not just tricky when it comes to stuff or time. They also play games with how we see ourselves and our actions. First, let's look at the overconfidence bias. This is the tendency to be more certain about our own abilities or knowledge than we should be. Have you ever been 100% sure you knew the answer to a question on a test, only to find out you got it wrong? That's your overconfidence bias at play. You might think, I'm great at video games, so I can definitely beat this super hard level on my first try. This confidence can be good, but it can also stop us from preparing properly or listening to advice from others. Then we have the action bias. Imagine you're a soccer goalie in a penalty shootout. The kicker is about to shoot. Your brain screams, dive left, dive right, do something. Studies show that goalies who dive left or right are no more successful than those who stay in the center. But it feels wrong to just stand still, so most goalies dive. The action bias makes us feel that taking action, any action, is better than waiting, even if waiting is the most strategic move. Let's consider the self-serving bias. This is a very common trick our brains use to protect our self-esteem. When something good happens, we tend to give ourselves all the credit. If you get an A on a science project, you'll think, it's because I'm smart and I worked hard. But when something bad happens, we tend to blame outside factors. If you fail the project, you might think, the teacher's instructions were confusing. My partner didn't do their share. This bias helps us feel better about ourselves, but it can also prevent us from learning from our mistakes and taking responsibility. Finally, there's the disposition effect. This one is a bit like loss aversion, but for decisions about winning and losing. Imagine you have 2 video games. You are really good at game A and win all the time. You are not very good at game B and keep losing. The disposition effect would make you want to stop playing game A to lock in your success, but keep playing game B in the hopes that you'll eventually start winning. It makes us quick to cash in on successes, but very slow to admit defeat. Our brains are social organs, which means they are heavily influenced by the people around us. Herd mentality, bandwagon effect. This is the tendency to do or believe things because many other people are doing them. If all your friends suddenly start wearing yellow hats, you might feel a strong urge to get a yellow hat too, even if you don't really like the color yellow. You see a long line outside a new ice cream shop, you think, it must be really good. And you get in line without even knowing the flavors. Your brain assumes the group knows best. Another powerful social bias is regret aversion. Our brains absolutely hate the feeling of regret and they will work hard to avoid it. This is especially true when we think about what others are doing. Imagine all your friends are going to a school party that you think might be boring. You might decide to go anyway, not because you think it will be fun, but because you're afraid of the feeling you'll have if you stay home and it turns out to be the best party ever. The fear of missing out, FOMO, is a type of regret aversion. We make choices to avoid the potential pain of looking back and thinking, I wish I had done that. Let's also discuss the affect heuristic. This is a mental shortcut where your current emotions determine what you decide. If you're in a happy, cheerful mood, you're more likely to see the benefits and upsides and ignore the risks. You might agree to a sleepover at a new friend's house without thinking much about it. But if you're feeling anxious or sad, you're more likely to see only the dangers and downsides. You might worry about everything that could go wrong and decide not to go. Your feelings act like colored glasses. changing how you see the world and influencing your choices. Finally, we have the optimism bias. This is the belief that you are less likely to experience a negative event compared to other people. It's the "it won't happen to me" feeling. For example, you might see a sign that says, "Don't run, it's slippery." But you think, "I'm a careful runner, I won't slip," and you run anyway. This bias can make us feel good and hopeful about the future, which is great. But it can also lead us to take unnecessary risks, like not studying for a test because we're overly optimistic that we'll pass. So, we've taken a whirlwind tour of your brain's sneaky shortcuts and mental tricks. From the loss aversion that makes you cling to your old toys, to the herd mentality that makes you want the same shoes as your friends, these biases are constantly, quietly shaping your thoughts and choices. It might seem like your brain is a master trickster, always trying to pull a fast one on you. But that's not the whole story. These biases are a normal, natural part of being human. Your parents, your teachers, your friends, and yes, even science guys. They aren't a sign that you're not smart or that something is wrong with your brain. In fact, they evolved to help our ancestors survive, in a world where making fast decisions was often more important than making perfectly logical ones. Your brain is not a perfect computer. It's a wonderfully complex and sometimes quirky organ that is doing its best to help you navigate a very complicated world. Knowing about these biases is the first step to working with your brain, not against it. Now that you know about these biases, you have a new tool in your mental toolkit. You can start to notice them in your daily life. When you feel a strong urge to buy something just because it's the last one, you can say, "Aha, that's the scarcity bias." When you find yourself blaming your controller for losing a video game, you can chuckle and say, "Oops, there's the self-serving bias." Just by noticing and naming the bias, you take away some of its power. You give yourself a moment to pause, to breathe, and to ask, "Is this what I really want? Or is my brain just taking a shortcut?" This knowledge doesn't mean you'll never be biased again. That's impossible. But it does mean you can become a more thoughtful, careful, and empathetic decision maker. You can understand why your friends might make certain choices, and you can be a little kinder to yourself when you make a choice you later regret. Understanding how our brains work is one of the most exciting adventures there is. Stay curious. Keep asking questions. Continue to explore the amazing, awesome, and beautifully biased brain that makes you, you. The world is a better place when we all think a little more deeply.